Conway Public Art Advisory Committee meeting of today. How's everybody? I recognize we do not have a quorum. I know we're going to be missing Rod. We had 2 members roll off. I think this is their official.
Yeah, so they're
not showing up because they're done. Okay.
Do we know if Joanna is coming today?
I have not heard from Joanna.
Here comes Ricky.
Somebody's okay. Ricky's coming.
Nice. So if we have Ricky, and then that means Joanna's our only outlier, right?
Yeah.
She's gonna get a bunch of texts on.
Oh, are you doing okay? I'll just wait.
Hey Ricky, how are you? All right. Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
So, quorum question. And I think we posed last time. We didn't know the answer to that we were hoping a policy wonk might help us with. Is it a quorum of the existing members, or is it a quorum of the full membership of the committee?
Pretty sure it's of the full.
Okay.
Would be my assumption.
Kyle counts in that number, right?
No,
No, you don't.
it's only voting members.
Gotcha, okay.
Hey, you know, there's not bylaws.
I think that's in the master plan, right? Is we should establish some of those for ourselves.
But I would interpret it based on the, yeah.
What does the tree board do?
So they have bylaws.
I know. What is that's kind of what I mean. What does the tree board do?
I think they've always done it where, it's like it depends, I guess, for approving the minutes versus taking some other action. I think there's a different threshold that's needed. I think theirs is kind of complicated.
I know we're not a board, we're a committee. Any board I've been on though, it's of the number of members you have at the time.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
that's kind of my
1, 2,
experience as
3,
well.
We have 4 board or committee members right now, and 3 of them are present. I feel like we're in a forum, but
Yeah,
Tell you
5.
what, I'll check with the city attorney and
Sweet.
regardless, I know we've got a guest here tonight. I think the only thing that is an action item was approving the minutes, so I think in the interest of
later if it's a bad
Right. I admit it's fairly low stakes, so if we screw this one up, it's okay.
in the interest
Trying
of
to do due diligence of let's keep all actions big and small
Send the minimum out.
in adherence.
Oh yeah, sure thing. Yeah.
But assuming we have a proper quorum and recognizing that it's only approval of our June minutes, not that we don't love you, June minutes, and you're very important to us. Do we have a motion to approve?
Here.
Awesome. Do we have a second?
second.
Awesome. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Perfect. We approved the June minutes. Thank you all very much. After that little bit of standard meeting boilerplate, I want to welcome Nick Stevens.
Thank you.
So, part of what we wanted to, I don't know, Ginny, how much did you brief or fill in, or?
I was invited.
I just said, come with your
I'm
ideas.
ready. Yeah, I'm ready with ideas and to participate in things you guys want to tell me as well.
Awesome. Well, I guess for the good of the committee, kind of introduce yourself a little bit about what the Creative Institute does, even though some of us are familiar, and kind of maybe your hopes for future of public art in Conway from the city side of things.
Okay, so the Creative Institute is a nonprofit based here in Conway. We're headquartered out of the studio in downtown, and our main bread and butter is that we're training students for creative careers in marketing, design. We're really developing, right now we have a 1-year certification program, but we foresee ourselves becoming a full-on trade school for these kinds of design and marketing careers. What's maybe more interesting to this committee is that we also, our mission is bigger than that. We're about equipping creatives to flourish in Arkansas. And we envision an Arkansas that is a thriving hub for creatives and artists and just that whole community. So we also started the Conway Art Walk back up again, along with, we kind of pulled some community members together, created an Art Walk committee, and have been building that event since we relaunched in October of last year. So in the first year, we're pretty proud of what we were able to do. We have curated a pretty hefty list of artists that have either exhibited with us or applied to. We have had UCA Downtown as a partner, as well as several retailers on Oak Street. In the first year, we would place artists in the a lot of the retailers or at UCA Downtown or in the studio. And it was a successful event as far as like creating this time for people to come, connect with artists, to also kind of enjoy some downtown retailers and businesses and kind of experience downtown Conway. This next year, though, we are getting excited for the new things that we're planning. So our hope, our application is pending with the city of Conway. But we are applying to have Simon Park this year every month, and to have live music on the Chris Allen stage. If you know, that's pending, but it's our big hope. And the idea for the event is that it will extend from where kind of UCA Downtown and the studio are at the Chestnut part of Oak down to Simon Park. And you'll have the festival feeling of live music and some kind of food truck treat going on there with some family activities. We're calling it like a family makerspace. So the activities would be something like you would do at Board and Brush, or something like you do at a social paint class, stuff that kids and adults both can enjoy doing. The Innovation Hub brings out clay and lets you like create things out of clay. So that sort of stuff. As you move towards the Oak Street side, the event becomes more and more elevated. And so you're going through the artists who will all be, they'll all be tabling outside this year.
Nice.
And you will eventually get to the studio where there will be classical music playing live, and there will be a new gallery space in the workshop that's on that side of the studio. So that gallery will have an artist who is beyond just having a 10 by 10 like booth. They'll actually have walls to use, and will feel more like a gallery art walk. So we'll have UCA Downtown, we'll have the gallery inside the studio. Hey, Joanna. And we'll also be opening a gallery in the new Arnold Innovation Center. So our hope is to really elevate the event and to create these pop-up galleries, because Conway doesn't really have, other than UCA Downtown, we don't really have that kind of gallery space on that strip. The other thing is our artist demonstrations last year were they were exciting because they were live art. So you could come and see someone painting on canvas, or there was one artist partner who would let participants paint or do that sort of thing.
Huh.
This year, we would really like to create some public art emphases and experiences. And so I would like to use this moment, like this time, or these artists to imagine and dream much bigger than just, this is something I'd put on a canvas and sell. So for example, one of the things is when you guys take like public applications for public art in town, or you solicited like when you were doing the Tiny Toads. And so I've talked to Jessica Jones, who I think has submitted proposals before, and talked to her about doing a temporary version of one of the proposals that she's done for you guys in the past. So what I'm seeing is the opportunity to take things that could become permanent installations, but to sort of do like pop-up temporary versions to drum up like public interest. And so that's just kind of one example. So using cheaper materials, but helping Conway imagine what these could be like in real life. We also want to feature, we want to jump in on the Poetry Month. I think it's April. Yeah, so we want to kind of be big partners with the Conway Public Poetry Project and other like poets in town, and expand beyond just fine art, visual art, like canvas art. We've also had pottery, that sort of thing, but we want to expand to include performing art,
Right.
poetry, that sort of thing. So that's my long-winded pitch of how we're kind of moving forward. But I want to continue to kind of like be connected to the work that you guys are doing, because we both want to showcase the existing public art in Conway when possible. And then we also want to find ways to partner to continue to build support for the public art initiatives that are happening.
Got a question.
Right.
I heard that the artwork thing, there'd be I heard there was gonna be like a First Friday type of thing going on. Is that true?
Yes, so we did Thursdays last year. We're moving to First Friday.
Yeah.
And that date was chosen because we don't want to directly compete with Little Rock and North Little Rock. Argenta's is Third Friday, and the River Market, Second Friday Art Night is what their literal name is. They're Second Fridays. So First Friday is also Hot Springs, and I believe when Russellville does theirs quarterly, it can fall on the First Friday as well, but they're far enough away that we hope it's not too competitive.
What are the, you want to keep it consistent throughout the year or on season, off season?
Yeah, there's seasons. So the fall season is September through December. Each season is 4 months. So September through December for the fall, and then March through June for the spring. So you end up having 2 months off between seasons. And this fall, we have our presenting sponsor lined up is Simmons Bank. We're still confirming some other sponsorships, but so we're actually looking for a sponsor for classical music and also for the Family Makerspace. But we're kind of excited about the community support that we've been able to pull together.
I'm just peppering questions as they come to
No,
me.
go for it.
Speaking of thinking of things down and along that corridor, has the local chamber been involved at all, or
Yeah.
interested, or?
No, absolutely. So the multiple different ways that like the chamber or the city have been involved. So the Downtown Partnership has sponsored us before, and they're confirming their fall sponsorship now. And Kim has just been like very involved. I mean, Kim has probably been to more art walks than I have. So
That's Kim is Kim.
Kim is Kim. And so the Downtown Partnership's the main way. And then the A&P Convention and Visitors Bureau has we've had an A&P grant, and so they've been a sponsor as well. I don't think the chamber directly outside of the Downtown Partnership has directly put their name on anything, but they're definitely supportive through Kim.
Nice. I was just curious, I'm thinking of other spaces to open up or other infrastructure around that, makes ready partnerships or collaboratives.
Yeah.
And that seem,
Yeah, absolutely. So the major switch to add in Simon Park and the Arnold Innovation Center kind of expands our footprint that way. Last year, the last art walk, we tested closing a little section of Chestnut. And it was exciting, the atmosphere that it created, because there was more of a space to linger and connect, and our drum circle was there. And so that's one of the things we've been lacking, is that there haven't been spaces that are built to gather during the event. And so our hope is that by creating a little more room in the studio, continuing to have UCA Downtown, and adding that whole area around Simon Park, that we can create more opportunity for people to hang out and enjoy the event, more than just kind of going through it.
Nice.
But in the future, I could see us expanding down to the new MLK Square, up to the chamber.
Right.
There's multiple directions, and it really just depends on the businesses and retailers along the path, and the spaces. So like the alleyway in the center of Oak has been really helpful to have either music or that's where we're hoping to put the demonstrating artist this fall. And so just kind of seeing those spaces.
How do you envision us as a committee helping you? What would be some ideas on that?
I think that one thing that's really helpful is if we keep each other informed. And so if you in your other initiatives, you interact with artists, you interact with like these different projects, I would love to see, sharing ideas of like, hey, here's something that an artist wants to do that we can't take up, or, we have to prioritize something else at this time, that you could send them our way, pitch those opportunities to us. Like I said, I think doing temporary versions of what could one day be permanent installations, I would love for the art walk to be a place to showcase that. I would also, again, like to drum up support for public art just as much as we're drumming up support for people to come and buy art. And so when you're working on a project that you need more like public input on, or just public interest, I would love to find ways to use the art walk to show mock-ups to people, to have artists be featured who can speak to the things that are being created. In general, if there's a new piece of public art going up somewhere else in town, even if it's not downtown, if we can, have that artist come and do something to share with the public what it means and the process and that kind of stuff, I think that adds to Conway and to our event.
So we've been talking about temporary installations as well, or have over the past years. Is there, and I know this is not the right example, but I'm imagining the horse in Fayetteville. It's built something that different people paint. Do you remember that horse?
Oh my gosh, I think I do know what you're talking about.
It was on,
I always thought that was a private business's thing.
Yeah.
That was the flower shop.
Yeah,
They
well,
had one in Bentonville too.
yes, and like they would every year, somebody like it was pink one time for cancer awareness, and so it would change. That's what I'm imagining, but I'm not saying a horse. But
UCA
something.
had a version of
Listen
that with
to
the
the
little
guy.
bear statue on campus.
Oh yeah. And so I didn't know if it was something like that we could provide a base for, or and then y'all kind of help find the artist to paint it, or it could be more of a, I don't know how temporary we want to go, with like lights, and you could do a light installation somewhere on one of the downtown business walls. I don't know.
Just doing that because I love that.
Oh man, yeah. Or like so yes.
I love the idea of a sound installation during like Poetry Month or something. So you have live, but also, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, no. I like it. So I was trying to think of stuff like physical things that we could contribute to help promote. But I don't know what that would be or what it would look like.
Well, also not to exacerbate a perceived parking problem, but I do remember in the recommendations from the master plan, there was that, like, for occasionally shutting down like a section of parking spaces to make kind of exactly what they're looking for, more space for events or more space for interaction. Would that be a joint possibility if we were to put together a support proposal? Or I'm trying to think of ways that we can support and lend to more public interaction with that would go beyond the traditional permit. Like, I don't know if there's a permit that exists that says, hey, can we, for the first Friday of October?
Franchise agreement. It exists, yeah.
Nice.
There's a permit for that. I found that out.
That's for a parking lot or
For parking spaces.
parking space? Oh, okay, so
Would that need to be the business that is in front of that, or?
That would be a very touchy issue depending on where it is.
Right.
Some of them are extremely protective of discovered when we started talking about dining decks.
Right.
Even to the point of just the idea, some of them didn't like that it would be in front of someone else's. I don't know, but I think that's the idea of a parklet, or that's
parklet.
definitely got some possibilities there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking too, that seemed to, their examples look really cool, because that's what we paid them to do a little bit, was give us some cool examples. But also that seemed like, I don't know, that's a neat innovative thing that I haven't seen elsewhere in Arkansas, and thinking in the context of an art walk, like for a 1 day a month thing, rather than, maybe somebody had a problem with the outdoor decks and stuff. Maybe this is a way that says, hey, it's once a month. It's thing, it's, you're
After
already
you're
involved.
closed or, you know.
Right, right. Yeah.
But yes, yeah.
Or if you're
for-
interested, hey, take part in Art Walk and stay open later hours and we can hook you up with an artist and put one in front of your shop too, and people will linger and do that sort of thing. I don't know if that's helped by it coming from a joint venture or if it's just kind of providing
So
information.
you're talking about just like for one day. I
Yeah.
don't see why that would be a big issue.
Yeah.
'Cause I would assume that would be, yeah, I don't see.
Yeah,
why
just
that-
coinciding with Art Walk so that,
Yeah, when we, just to be very honest, when we did the street closure of that section of Chestnut, we purposely kept it very small to
Right.
try to make it as little of an interruption to everybody else as possible. Our major pushback was that because alcohol has been served anywhere at an art walk, then we were told if we were serving alcohol in any capacity, we could not shut down a street.
gotcha.
And so for that art walk, when we did that, we had to very clearly not serve any alcohol or not.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
there's been
So-
state law that's changed that. We're in the very, very, very early stages of setting up stuff on entertainment districts.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
part of one of the ideas that's at least has been discussed is temporary entertainment districts for events where the operator has a plan for it
Mhm.
and I think I think Chestnut's a great possibility of a place that could be utilized for that on a regular basis. I mean, there'll be some businesses nearby that will, I think, be hopefully, well, they've got different laws that they have to abide by,
Yeah.
but there are restaurants within that area that too that I think there could be some good partnerships.
Yeah. Well, another thing to kind of be the middle ground between blocking off a whole street but
Yeah.
having more availability
Use those spots.
is the spots. If you have a partnering business and then you put in the permits and we say, hey, for temporary for the first Fridays for this fall session, we would like to have the space in front of you or whatever else businesses might be involved, and then that's cordoned off and an extra space for people to linger, and then
Yes.
clears the pedestrian way.
No, I think that would be really great. And it creates more kind of perceived safety as well, because there's more distance, like,
Right.
so.
Going back to your thought about having the same basic idea, but it changes so every so often. I know you're talking more of an annual basis. I wonder about building something in Simon Park, whether it's something that holds like a huge canvas or a wooden structure
Yeah.
where there is like a basic. We get one of the local artists to design us the basic form of it, and every art walk. There's materials out there, and an example, like maybe it's a seasonal thing. So the colors we use in September are, early fall colors or however you want to do it.
Yeah.
And we can blow up an example of, okay, maybe we take different artists, like, okay, this is going to be in the style of Matisse this month, and we're going to do the style of, does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So that it's not just a free for all every month where everybody just throws paint on there, but you at least have colors for them to work with within a palette, and you have an example of the style of art. And then every first Friday, we have people who go out there and can.
Yeah.
And you're talking artists go out and do it, or the public?
No, I'm saying public.
Okay,
I think
cool,
we have an artist.
But like an
or
artist
two.
That are like
curated.
That are helping?
leading and facilitating.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Like,
who
the
gets
only paint
started?
available is paint that will go cohesively with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I mean, as long as, I don't know how the city would feel about leaving that up for 4 months at a time. And maybe, the first 4 months is one thing, and then we change it completely for the next 4 months.
It would be and we would have to do it the right way. You're saying like we do it and then we just leave it up for 4 months at that time?
Yes.
Well, rotating out, so like you're thinking temporary to go with the seasonal thing. My mind went to almost, what if we, instead of an art piece there, proposals or accept ideas for a piece of infrastructure that can support temporary artwork.
What if it's a
That-
teepee, like the spine of a teepee, and you can like make the walls out of different colors, or
Yeah.
like, some cool
Structure.
frame structure that
That in itself is.
apply different
yeah.
mediums to it.
Okay.
Yeah, that on its own merit is not offensive to look at, but
Right.
wouldn't be like the main attraction.
So
But
it
then
becomes
that-
useful too.
Right.
Yeah.
But then on a rotating period, like I'm thinking of a welded metal structure or something like that with attachment points for a gigantic temporary canvas to coincide with that. I mean, shoot, it could be a movie screen for, movies in the park or something of that nature. I don't know, a multi-use, multimodal piece of infrastructure that's there to support public art
Yeah.
rather than a piece of public art.
Yeah, and I like the idea.
Yep.
The back end of it is thinking like, okay, how's a 15-year-old boy going to react to that? And what do we do in terms of vandalism? And so that's immediately like where I go, because it's the first thing that
I mean,
happened
you
in
need
one of
to.
my last projects.
Well,
Yeah.
also Simon Park,
Yeah.
I think what you're thinking makes it to where there's not pushback of like this just being a usable park. Like they just got rid of that fountain, and I'm imagining what y'all are saying being on that square where the fountain was.
Right.
What about that roundabout on Chestnut that is blank and it's just concrete right now? That could be a good place, especially if we did in the future close that Chestnut strip during Art Walk. And then there's less likelihood of vandalism because it's not in an open green space, but it's in the middle of a road. And so
That's an interesting idea, because that could be, it'd almost be like Toadsuck Square where you got like it gets repainted.
but instead it's structured.
So if the
Instead of
structure was
structure.
metal structure that looked neat on its own.
Yeah, well, that one may be difficult, that has to stay mountable.
So you can drive straight over.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
that one has to be driven over.
Well, for
Oh.
like big trucks.
Okay, so maybe it's
But I mean,
It took a second just to stay mountable, but okay, yeah.
so they've got what we call them mountable curves, and so
Right.
basically.
because like the 18-wheelers has to be
There was a really funny video that Bobby shot, our public or communications guy, like immediately when it opened, and some Jeep just went ramped over it, and it was very interesting. But the reason it's designed that way is when large trucks navigate it, so it could be potentially one of those things, like if it were to keep it mountable and avoid it being destroyed.
Yeah.
It
It can't have like a big structure on it.
it'd be hard. One thing, Simon Park may be getting a facelift, and so that this could be like an opportunity to incorporate something like that in there. But I'm taking like these different notes just for stuff to include in that interdepartmental meeting, because I think these are absolutely fantastic ideas.
I will say on the vandalism thing though, that's gonna be a possibility no matter what we do and where we do it, and this actually would be easier if it gets vandalized, then somebody just goes out there and throws the color, you know what I'm saying, like that could be a super easy fix as opposed to we have a whole
It
mural
could
that
go
has to be
with the next
repainted. Right.
Yeah, I was thinking about canvas,
Yeah,
but
we're
if
changing
it's a structure or, I mean, I think there's a lot of merit to the idea. It's, the details of
Right.
how we execute it.
So thinking about that, is that something that, and this is a question, I guess, too, for maybe further research. But in practical purposes, let's say we want to put forth that idea, recognizing that it's not an art piece, but is in support of public art, what would the process be there for putting that in? Is that through the interdepartmental committee? And then,
Yeah, I would say we gather some partnership. We would talk about it interdepartmental. We'd include it as part of our plan for
2023.
2023, that we would, do this during the spring season
Renovation,
and the fall season,
Yeah.
and include those things. I mean, the thing that I like the most about this is it's almost like a monthly arts fest, which is really cool in and of itself. It's really good downtown programming, which we don't have nearly enough of. And so I think it checks a lot of boxes. It could be, at some point, a good success for how we run events that involve the entertainment district. So I think there's a lot of things that this builds on that I think is really pretty cool, so.
Can I also request a live painting of a sidewalk crossing on Chestnut? Like if you close down the street, like do like a fun sidewalk crossing. Because wasn't that one of the things in our master plan?
To make it like a
piano,
artsy
looks like a
side, not
piano
just
or
white, yeah.
Yeah.
different colors or.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, we were working last year with someone who was again was going to do like a mural,
Yeah.
but we can translate that to the ground easily and ask them to design on the sidewalk crossing. So that's already in y'all's plans to do something
No,
like that
it's just
somewhere?
been in my head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You said it was an idea that
Well,
came
As an
I thought
optional
I
project
remember
that as we
seeing
move
it in
forward.
We
the
talked
Yeah.
master
about it,
plan,
Dustin talked
right?
about it with the poetry thing,
Yes,
doing
okay.
that, but we also.
I've been bringing it up
I think
a
it was
lot.
part of
Okay.
the plan as well, to make more vibrant crossings.
Yes.
That would be great. We explored this year the whole like painting an electric box. That was
Yes.
the artist we were working with them. And we even had a sponsor who was going to pay for it.
Mhm.
But our investigation found that almost no electric box downtown is allowed to be painted.
Oh, yeah.
So we were working with Conway Corp and they would identify that, and they were really excited about the idea, but they identified that each box that we found for them was either theirs and they were not allowed to paint it for like safety or some kind of regulations, or it belonged to like the building owner or something. And I don't know if we pursued with any individual building owners, so.
One of the things we were gonna look at is vinyl wraps too, as a possibility. That's something that I know Little Rock has done.
You said vinyl wraps?
Yeah, so instead of
On-
actually painting on it, you paint something and then apply the vinyl wrap to it.
Okay.
Because what I've been told is that like it decreases how hot those boxes get, and apparently that helps. But I know on a day like today that probably those are probably you can fry an egg on it or something.
Remind me again, city financial and calendar are the same, or are we June, July?
City's January, December.
Okay.
So our budget cycle,
So fiscal year 2023 is literally fiscal year 2023,
Calendar year.
calendar year 2023.
so we start the budget process September, October-ish.
Yeah, that's just
So
coming up
it's right-
soon.
It's right
Yeah, it's
around the
coming
corner.
Yeah. I just was trying to think of things that we wanted to put in there and test out, and I think this being one that would fit and would be fairly low cost to some of the other things we ask for. So,
Is the art master plan on our website?
I don't believe so.
We need to get it up there.
That way y'all can see all the
Yeah.
ideas and whatnot.
I think that's another thing that we kind of want to see big picture, like what's happening, because even us hosting this art walk we were really trying to check off some boxes on the Chamber's 2035 plan, and having a quarterly art walk was actually in the plan. So yeah, we would love to try to like find ways to help each other check off boxes like that and
yeah, absolutely.
and grow. Who has the master plan? Who would be sharing that?
Those guys.
Okay.
Well, you probably don't want to get your email address out. Well, I don't know that anybody's watching, but y'all can.
I think I should have shared it with the whole board. Did you want me to send it again? Because I think I shared it with you all like a month ago or so.
Oh, I thought that was
Did
just
we?
the draft.
No, that should have been the final document.
Oh, was it?
Let's say, I don't
thought
know.
it was a draft too.
Yeah.
I can
No, that was the
reshare it,
final
yeah.
one, sure. But yeah, if you've got it handy, you can reshare that.
Okay.
Yeah, do that.
Because also being a couple months ago, I have no idea where that is in my email abyss. Neat. Any other ideas bubble up for folks? Other than staying in contact and keeping communication open?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'd love to get your contact information as well.
Share it with you.
Perfect. Well, thank you for exploring that with us and
Absolutely.
and for being here to witness the rest of what's happening. So we're good on that. We'll move swiftly right along into old business. Kyle, Mural Shield has arrived.
It has finally gotten here, so we're good. We
Yay.
have the graffiti coating and the mural shield now, so we're all good to go.
Perfect. So we need to contact then the artist and see if they want to make
Because there was one that
corrections.
was damaged, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and it would be good if we coordinate that. If you contact them and copy either Kyle or myself on that.
Yep.
And we're in the midst of working out with physical plant like a appropriate time to put those materials up where the weather's right. And so it would be unfortunate if we correct it and then we don't have like I could immediately get that
Right.
get the other stuff up. So
Yeah.
and real show the graffiti coating.
Put a guard there until it's back up.
Yes. Yeah.
And I guess might coordinate that through Jessica to reach out to the appropriate artist, because I'm not sure I know which artist was at that particular spot. Well, I will start a big old thread with all of us, and then we can get connected to the artist through Jessica Jones, and then we can coordinate with y'all on when is a good time for them to repair that. That will be swiftly then covered over with the graffiti coat, so that we don't get it vandalized a third time. Well, awesome. Well, that's great news. I'm glad that finally came in. That's been like what?
It's been a very long time.
The saga has been forever, and now we have that, and we have plenty over for next mural projects, right? Like we have
Yeah.
surplus.
Good.
I'm ready to get the other stuff out of my office.
It's been sitting in there forever.
Well, perfect. Well, we can free up office space and protect our murals in one fell swoop. That's very exciting. Tiny Toads, have we heard from our elusive Calvin?
So I believe we're in the very final part now. Isn't he about to sign?
Just waiting.
Yeah.
Waiting. I followed up with him a couple days ago. I have not heard yet.
Sign the contract?
Yeah.
Perfect. Once that's signed, did we have a timeline built in for that?
So part of the signing is he'll provide us the final timeline for it.
Awesome. Speaking of things that'll be fun for Art Walk,
I was
Tiny
gonna
Toad
say,
spotting.
do they, the locations of the toads, they extend into the area that we are in? Okay.
It's
A few of them do.
I knew they were around downtown, but I think I'd only known about like one at the fire station or something.
There's one in Simon Park, isn't there? No.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
that's the one in Memorial.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Conductor
so
toad.
is there gonna be
Yeah.
anything created as far as like what, how
There's
is,
already a storybook.
okay, so I would love for us to like even have those to pass out to,
Sure.
or to tell people like, hey, we can identify like a good starting location, like from Simon Park or somewhere else, and be sending families out to do the Tiny Toad
Yeah.
walk search.
There's the awesome website, if I remember correctly,
Mhm.
that has all the history that's associated with each one. It'd be great to do like a little map,
We've got a whole. So we had a part of that grant was producing the brochure.
Yeah.
So we've got a whole brochure that's got
Oh,
It's got a history of the
fantastic.
spots.
included. Yeah.
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 that would be
Why the
great.
toads look like they do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Have
we would
printed
love
any?
to. give those to people.
Not yet.
Might put some in my office. Check it out.
Yeah.
It's done. I guess it's not done yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go to where they're gonna be
Yeah.
and just
go check
imagine
them
the
out
toad
where they
there.
could be.
The videos are cool. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff even, possibly, like Massey Hardware, if you're not of a certain generation, you don't know the significance of that
Right.
that place in the community.
Mhm.
But you will once you go on the Tiny Toads tour.
Yes.
What's that website? Do we have that?
It's one of our web maps, so it's a long link. It's better just to link off of it.
Link off of it.
Is it on our website? Is there a link off our website?
Not at the moment, I don't think.
Could there be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Off the board page.
Somewhere.
Yeah, one of the things I've doing is rather than just the board site is actually just having one that's Conway, well, having a URL that's public.
Ooh, that would be
fun.
fantastic.
That
Yeah.
has basically
Pictures.
a listing
Board just tells
of,
about us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about us.
but is more about the projects and the art pieces. Since we've got a larger catalog of it now and more information that's so we'll do that with public history as well. That's another one.
There's more of that than there's public art.
There's a lot of public history documents.
For now, soon. Awesome. Well, that's great. I look forward to him finalizing the contract, finalizing that timeline. And then two, maybe that makes more sense as we roll forward with some publication of like read up and look at where they're gonna be and build up to a launch. We haven't had a launch in a little bit. So we could have a launch of something.
Facebook scavenger hunt for like when the first one goes up to like try to find.
Nice. I like it. Well, as I make my final note there on that, as long as nobody else says anything else, miniature toad related. Jenny, poetry project.
Okay, so our committee met, we had about 35 to 40 poems that were submitted. We narrowed it down to 12 that we felt like would be appropriate. One thing we tried to keep in mind was we wanted the poetry to be accessible to the public, which the majority of the public does not like lofty, weighty poetry that you have to like digest to understand. So, if we were doing a poetry journal, some of this probably would not have made it in, but we felt like these were choices that somebody could walk down the street and we also wanted it to be, them to have a feeling from it. Like they would either get excited or wonder or, a touch of melancholy, whatever, to them just have some kind of experience with the poem there. So I sent this to you guys, I think about a week or two ago. These were I just kind of threw in some suggestions and then I don't think anybody else did, but so we're at the point where we need to decide, does this committee approve these poems? And then where do we want them to go and what medium do we want them to be in? So that's where we're at. I don't know if we want to walk through each one. Did everybody have a chance to look at them yet or no?
I read through them. I mean, I agree, I feel like they will solicit a feeling of place. Like, I think people will read them and recognize that it's other Conwegians who have put it forward.
Right. So like the azalea one.
In a flower bed.
Yeah, no, that's yes, where? We need to-
Specific flower bed.
Specific locations.
Yeah.
I mean, I have pink azaleas in my front yard, which I probably don't want to put. I probably don't want to put
Downtown.
in my yard. For people to traipse
What
through.
are the suggested locations we asked for?
Okay, so for the downtown one, obviously it needs to be downtown, I would assume. So I thought Simon Park or the plaza outside the chamber would have some good spots. And to either do like the sidewalk stamping was one of the things we talked about doing. That would obviously have to be coordinated with the street department and get their okay to do. Or doing the printed metal signs. I did have a question about the printed metal signs. When we say the city has the ability to do those, can they be different colors? It doesn't have to look just like a typical street sign, right?
Is it on vinyl, on metal? Like, yeah. we just-
Samples.
Yeah, so I've got that option. There's a couple we talked about doing. These two we thought might be good by a school.
So literally, like, it's got, this is just some random design that's on the back. It can be different on the back than it is on the front.
Okay,
All sorts of colors, obviously. It can incorporate a design,
love it, okay.
text, I mean, it's,
Is it printed or is it cut out vinyl?
I don't know exactly how it's done.
Cause I was trying to think if we had
It
like
is a metal
is that like
plate.
a graphic, could we?
It is a metal plate
Right.
that's,
Yeah, I think it's printed. Yeah, it's printed, so you could have a like
So we could
a,
work with a graphic designer to actually create art along with the poem itself.
yeah, it just needs to fit the, I mean, I don't know that it would,
They're all gonna be this size.
I don't know that it would necessarily be this size, but fit one of the sign blanks.
yeah, I think there's
Right.
some smaller ones that are around,
Mhm.
on the pole.
Yeah, okay, so it would always be kind of cool when we do these to create like a design on the back that kind of like you have the Conway symbol on the back of that one, where it's like the Poetry Public with, like a very light logo that explains what the Conway Poetry Public
With the
is.
artists.
That leads you there with the artist's name or the poet's name. And then the front is the poem and the design or whatever.
Also, this is so silly, but could you show it to the camera for posterity's sake?
Show it
That is
to
a
the
large
camera
sign.
for posterity's sake, there we go.
Yes, perfect. Now it's part of public record. I just.
Good call, good call.
Where you have marked the sidewalk stamping, is that somehow permanent or what kind of?
Rod
it
said he had
etched
looked
in?
into this a little, yeah, the idea would be it would be etched into the concrete. So I know that that's a process, and we would obviously need to look into that to see.
So the gravestone engravers are the ones that do it.
Okay,
So there's one over here
People that
by,
you'll.
on Oak Street, by current Tipton and Hurst, across from it, behind the gas station.
okay. So yeah, so that's what I've got there. For these two, we thought would be good by the schools. This one was one of them, we put two by kids. We thought this one might be good by an elementary school, and the way that it's designed, it could incorporate art really well with it. I know James had suggested sidewalk murals. I think our thought was to put the actual poem on the sidewalk before you get to a crosswalk and let the
Yes.
design of it go into the crosswalk so that they're not standing in the middle of the road reading the poem, but they read the poem on the sidewalk while they're waiting to cross the road.
Yeah.
And then, so that's an idea. So it could be sidewalk / crosswalk mural.
Fantastic.
Honestly, I think this one could be kind of cool by the junior high or high school.
Don't they have some like flag signs too? Did I mention that? Do they have any pole mounted kind of banners? Banners is a better word. Like downtown, there's the
I don't know.
banners on their
I don't
pole
know.
lights.
They,
But I'm
Oh, you're
wondering if
talking
they
about-
did have some,
you're
we
talking
could put
about
them on
light poles.
theirs. Yeah, like on the light poles.
like places
banners.
to put banners?
Mhm.
My
There-
only concern with that is that unless it's super short,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be
Yeah,
big
yeah.
enough to
Mhm.
actually read,
Yeah.
unless you're just taking like a single quote.
Mhm.
There are many of those but they're a little bit in disrepair.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What about like ones by the park, the new park? So like if somebody's in the park, they can sit and read them. 'Cause there's light poles all down that New Chestnut. That would be fantastic.
I know
for
Kim said
some-
she offered the idea of
New
doing the
Chestnut.
polls,
Yeah.
the poll banners.
I don't
That's
know which
actually in the
one.
plan.
Oh, yeah.
This one would be a good one for a garden too, like, do the master gardeners have a little thing in front of the courthouse? Don't they have a little plot that they
Yeah,
take
mhm.
care of?
And there's some pole signs there.
I don't know, so that might be a place to do that. I know we're trying to get away from just downtown.
Yeah.
We thought this one would be a good one for one of the walking trails, the early morning dog walk.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Also the tree, it's kind of a funny, it's kind of, I don't know, it's a Shel Silverstein-ish type thing. Or if there's a stump somewhere. Turn the stump into a bench, like a bench seat, and put the poem beside it, I don't know. This one also, walking trail, it talks about trees. I don't know, we have lots of walking trails. This one, I don't know what it's called, do you know the baseball field, there's that pond where people fish?
Conway Station.
Conway Station, okay. I thought that that might be a cool place for this one. I see lots of people out there fishing all the
Yeah.
time, so that might be a cool place to put that. This one, Chris Allen Stage possibly in Simon Park.
So like those metal signs, we could maybe attach into the brick, like, you know how it raises up.
There's a lot of options with metal signs. I mean, and it could also be a rotating thing too.
So some of the things we talked about doing the sidewalk, crosswalk murals. We talked about the signs, the engraving in the sidewalk. We had talked about doing a banner that can hang, but I know that's tricky, and doesn't last as long. What was I gonna say? Oh, we had talked about maybe getting some framed and nice frames matted to put in City Hall, like in the lobby.
Oh, yeah.
And those could be rotated out, like the next year, we do this again the next year, we could put in a new group, I don't know. The tricky thing is, I don't know, like, I think we want them to be as permanent as possible. So people don't feel like some people's poems got permanently there forever and some people switched out, but I don't know. So those are the things we kind of talked about, open to other suggestions, so we kind of need to figure out.
I think it would be good, I think, as a whole, if they rotated. One of the lessons learned from the Innovation Center was if it never changes, like on the front there, people become super attached to it, and then it becomes an expectation of it existing forever.
Right.
Also, you're gonna do this every year, right?
If it goes well, yes.
Oh,
Like
okay.
if
Trial.
the
you-
implementation process works. That's the goal.
I just wonder if you might like to have it a little less permanent so that it's almost like you have this constantly like,
So like every year you just,
yeah, you find them in new places and it becomes this whole experience in Conway.
Can we add a vinyl on the back of a window downtown on one of the buildings that are empty?
yeah, vinyl was another thought. And also a mural. We talked about paying an artist to paint a mural of one of them as well. So those are some other, that we could do vinyls.
Are there? Well, that was a huge sign. So I'm wondering if there are partnerships we could do where we could have it maybe laser cut into different shapes. I was thinking of ways to have the same permanence of all of the art, but be able to do interesting things with how it's presented and in the format, so that when it does come next year, this does go really well. People love seeing the poetry pop up around town, and it comes time to replace them. That, yeah, we don't run into the situation where like, oh, mine was on a sign that they took down and replaced, and then hers was on a mural they paid somebody to paint, and like feel a little bit different for the artist from the poet perspective. But I don't know if we could do some cool things with different shapes of signs or sizes of signs and where they're placed, or near some of the things that are still the placement there that aren't necessarily all looking the same, but then all have the same level of like, it's all a sign that we're gonna take down and rotate out in the future.
I think our big thing, I don't know that we have a CNC to like alter the shape.
Oh, I
but
figured we'd
think-
have to get a partner that would, yeah.
Yeah, but I definitely think they could be, you could alter the shape of them. After it's printed on a blank and then have it cut. That would definitely be a possibility.
The way we attach them and mount them and display them, I think will make them look a little bit different, some on a pole, some on a wall, in the ceiling.
So what if we I'm just thinking about the permanent versus semi-permanent, if we kind of go from like a 2 to 3 year, like we're thinking these will stay up for 2 to 3 years. Like, I don't know how long a mural on a crosswalk lasts, or if it's done right.
That's a good question, yeah.
Trying to think of a way where they're all about the same amount of permanence.
Right.
And then because I also part of the goal is to keep adding more and more artwork to the city. So I don't want to just put it up for a year and then we replace them with new ones, because then you know what I'm saying? Like, you
Right.
put all this time and money and energy into that, and then you only see it for a year and then it's gone. But if it was more of a 2 to 3 rotation, then you're getting to the point where you have you at least have 2 to 3 years of poems at one point that are rotating out.
Yeah.
You know, one thought could be that there's an expectation of a semi level of permanence with certain installations, and that's acknowledged on the front end, and then if it's one that goes on a sign, then after its display period, it goes back to either the poet or the artist, and then they have
Yeah.
some kind of something to, and so I think it ameliorates whatever that feeling that might exist of,
Right.
mine was the one that didn't get to last
Or
forever.
we could find some random corner of the woods and it could be open.
Surprise poem.
There was the idea in the plan of like, out at, what's the park out there, northwest part of town? Why can I not remember it?
Northwest, not Poppy.
No, the old core park. Or the mountain bike.
Talking about
Yeah,
Cadron?
yeah.
Yeah,
Cadron Summit. I mean, she did talk about having like some thatched type installation for people to explore, and that you
Yeah.
could put.
It just degrades as it degrades,
It could
yeah.
be the poetry graveyard.
So I guess, yeah, narrowing it down to like a 2 or 3 kind of, here's the 3 ways your poem is going to show up. It's going to be etched somewhere, it's going to be painted somewhere, or it's going to be on a vinyl sign somewhere.
Can I add one?
Sure.
So like the light things that you can project on a building, you know, you go like a GoPro, you know, so
Yeah.
you can set it up on the roof or on the parapet of one and like shoot it onto another building and it changes.
Like,
You can change it out every day if you want. I mean, what the
well, I'm
message
saying as
says.
far as how much does that cost for that, the
Yeah.
products, the materials, and then who is in charge of making sure that.
So like
light
it's
is- you know
the
what I'm
cost
saying?
of the equipment and getting the power up there.
Yeah,
So.
I like that
I'll
idea.
research
I think
it.
that's definitely a cool one.
I like
Maybe-
it, love it.
Maybe for Art Walk. I remember seeing a video, it was one of those videos right at the beginning of the Ukraine war, and it was in some country, they had taken one of those really bright projectors and were shining it on the Russian embassy. And the Russian embassy had like a spotlight that they were trying to drag. And so it was, the Ukrainian flag was dancing around and the other light was following it. It was really hilarious.
That might be cool if we can, if we could find the materials,
Yeah.
the products, whatever.
I'll research it.
If we could show it during art walk in the evening and just cycle through some of the poems on a building, find a, you know, like where it's a
And
rotating
to know that
situation.
that these are around town.
Yeah.
Look for them in the wild. Here they are now.
For a while, yeah.
That would be cool.
Okay, so I guess the question is, I know we are running out of time. I know nobody else gave suggestions up to this point, like, should you and I get together and try to figure out locations for you to present? Is that a time? Okay,
Yeah, I think, because we're gonna take it back all as one conference proposal back to
Yeah.
the council. So, yeah.
okay. I will,
And we'll stick to kind of those 3 types. Do we want to narrow down the types today? You know what I mean? Like the painting, the sign, and the, what was the other one you said?
Etching.
The stamping or
Etching.
Yeah, etching or stamping.
That's a permanent one.
and that's much more permanent. But it could be reserved for only 1 or 2 each year.
right,
Mhm.
I mean, like the downtown one,
Yeah.
I think that's one that could be cool to be downtown, etched in a sidewalk for a long time, but
I was thinking that might be nice as, you know, the Markham strip is so new down to MLK Square. It might be nice to etch it connecting to MLK Square, kind of if you were walking from downtown to the park. Because you had another one that you had for the Chris Allen stage, so maybe we could move that one elsewhere. Just an idea.
okay.
Yeah. No.
Well,
Plus, there's got to be a
this-
stump somewhere.
You guys have been invited to this document. I'm gonna be going out of town Saturday through the 30th. So during that time frame, if anybody wants to go onto this document, add any other suggestions for location or medium, then maybe we could meet in early August
Sure.
and regroup.
Like which one's going
Yeah,
where?
so if y'all can't find it, just let me know. I emailed it to the group, but
Fantastic.
Perfect. All right. Other business. We touched on it last time, and now we're looking for guidance from James and Kyle for filling our committee vacancies.
Yes, so those are mayor appointees. I'll check with Felicia. I think that may be at the next cycle, opening cycle, whenever that's the nominations are.
October, isn't it?
Mhm.
The advertisement goes out in October.
I know what those words are. I don't know what they mean.
The tree board had a cool little graphic for trying to get members of there, just saying.
One day will be as cool as the tree board.
I've been seeing it a lot, so it's working.
Yeah, that would be good. I mean, we've had, I know the planning commission, there used to be a really hokey ad that ran on Channel 5.
People love hokey.
Well, it was, I mean, it was good in its own right, but it was definitely really hokey. But it
So
did,
Kyle's gonna make us a new hokey ad to run on.
Eye catching.
Yeah, if we got something that we could share, we could get it out there for sure.
Because we're looking for what constituent parts do we need?
Artists.
2 artists. So if we knew somebody
Yeah,
who
it
worked
would
with
be
artists.
great if we knew.
I was
if
gonna
we-
say, when you make that, we'll share it with
Yeah.
our whole artist block.
I talked with Jessica Jones today. She will not have time, but she suggested Nakia Palmer.
Wow.
Yeah, she'd be great.
She and her husband are both artists. Her husband was one of the muralists. She helped facilitate that project. She seems really involved, works with UCA downtown. So I think she might be a good suggestion.
She was our curator last year. She was awesome.
And then that would give us a connection. I mean, that would be good to have that.
So there's self-nomination and there's also, you can nominate somebody. Are we allowed to nominate somebody's as active
I mean,
committee
when
members?
that sort of the nomination process opens, it's open for,
Anybody?
There's
Yeah.
a form somewhere.
Yeah. I didn't want to cross ethical bounds. I didn't know if it was like, you know.
oh, no.
Like you can email them the form and say, hey, fill it out. I think that's
That's what
what
Kim,
Yeah.
that's what Kim.
You can also write a form for somebody and be like, I recommend this person to come there because this and this.
It would be best, it would be best for it to not be like,
Well,
Let
yeah.
them know.
Let's not volunteer somebody.
yes, let them
But like
know.
in addition to their own, like, I want to be on this, a supplementary, and we also think they would be great. We, in a royal sense, I also think they'd be great. I'll write the whole thing.
Yeah, but it's very common to have someone to nominate someone else. And whomever,
Okay, so they're due in October or when will those?
Open in October.
Open that.
Yeah, it'll be opening.
Open in October, okay.
So to get a quorum, are we still 4 people have to be here or is?
So, got that question.
Finding out.
Okay, I missed it.
It's either we don't have a quorum unless all of us who are remaining are here, or based on the remaining members, 3 of us count as a quorum? 3 out of 5?
If there's, so it'd either be 3 or 4.
3.5 of us out of 5. But it depends on what the lawyer says is our guidance. At which point we should probably copy it down and make a draft of like a bylaw for that. And then future committees don't have to have this conversation.
Yeah, boy.
Did designing local, were they rewriting our bylaws? No. Did I imagine that? We're suggesting edits
She
to-
developed policies and I think was working on the ordinance. So
She's
no-
still working on stuff.
No.
Okay, gotcha.
No.
They were,
They're in the wind.
final adoption of the plan there.
But the recommendation was for, I think, us to,
Gotcha.
pursuant to their recommendations, codify some stuff. Or at least is my hope that we can do as part of a following step.
Cool.
Again, to be more like the tree board. Cool. So October, Process opens, we're looking for 2 art pros to fill these vacant seats. So, and we will let you know, and do spread the word far and wide.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Oh.
Does anybody roll off in the next one that we need to
Let
pregame?
me check on that. I think I believe
Not
two
pregame. Need to do another third.
Okay, yes, so
We'll listen to too many people.
you two are both scheduled to drop off in January of 23 because we have that strange cycle where most boards are December, but for some reason you all got on January
January.
for your terms ending. So yeah, we will have 2 more. Or no, it's Jenny. Yeah, Jenny is 23 and Peyton. No, Joanna, you're good. You're 25.
She's like, I bet
So you're
it's
good to
not.
go. Ricky, you were 25 as well.
Yes,
Rod
I was
is
thinking.
25. We need to update this now that Kim is gone.
Mhm.
And then we have the other vacancy from Merit.
With his mind?
So yours is January 31st of 2023. So this coming January.
And is
I
this your
joined after Rob.
first or second?
Well, so I checked with, I was actually asked Felicia about that, because we were filling in a seat from somebody else, I
Yeah.
think, who was already.
That left, yeah.
That left, and so we didn't get a whole new term.
So we inherited their
We inherited their
term.
terms, yes.
Gotcha.
So that's why.
But are they able to another term?
I would definitely
I'll
check
have,
on
yeah,
that.
that, I don't
So
know.
let's- yeah.
And those would be just community member positions, so they're not art professionals.
Well, yeah, because if I got a ticking clock, you gotta see us moving some stuff forward, quick, fast, and in a hurry. But if I got time, we can dole that out over the full tenure.
We will see. I'm not sure. We'll have to check on that and see what the answer is. I don't know.
Cool.
Awesome. Questions for previous meeting, lingering things we had questions on for James and Kyle. I know we had some, I forget what they were. My apologies.
So one of them I know was about voting remotely. So that was a no. Felicia said no voting remotely. You
No
should be
voting
here in
remote.
person.
In person.
So no exceptions for that.
That originally started, Felicia said they would, you would have to apply. So basically, it's just an open process at that point.
Oh.
It was just reapplications.
So it's also in October though.
Yeah.
So we had
So
four
it'll
positions
be,
open in
I guess 4 October.
Yeah.
4 October.
Good call on the pre-gaming.
Way to go, Joanna.
But the Zoom, that started when there was a state of emergency with COVID. We're no longer under state of emergency, so it's extended a little bit past what probably was legal, but we really can't, we're really past that point where we can do it anymore. I've got
Remote voting, not even once. Awesome. Other lingering questions?
I think I sent you the list. Right?
Yeah, I'll go through some of them. Talked about dust up. The first, I'm calling it the IPAC committee, so it's
Yes.
Interdepartmental Public Art Committee. That will be on August 9th. That will be one of the items that we discuss. I've got some of the input that y'all talked about. If there's other ideas, you want to email me. Prior to that, some of the stuff I've got here is a community theme, working with Hendrix, certainly from a city standpoint, that would love that from a financial standpoint. So that's one of them. I think something to celebrate the sesquicentennial that was also mentioned. And I've got the other stuff with our temporary works and whatnot.
Yeah.
We talked about vacancy. I think there was a question on Donaghy. I don't have any updated information. As far as I know on that, it's a privately maintained project. So that's.
Yeah, we were just wondering that, so if anyone comes to us with questions, because they will, we give them proper guidance on, wasn't our board thing, it was this. If you're interested in doing something similar, these are the people you talk to and these are the steps that you follow. And we're divorced from that.
It was a totally private project. I don't know.
It's in the public roundabouts. And that's what all the people will care about.
There's a question about the ordinance, reviewing the ordinance that that was, Amanda had drafted, got a goal of adoption by the end of 2022. So,
Hey,
we got some other big ordinances working on right now, so that's one of them. We talked about tiny toads, and then we talked about mural shield, so, okay.
yes,
So I think one of the questions was about a possible, RFP. We don't need to do that. Y'all are gonna do that in your inner pack.
Yeah, so we'll issue that. I'll definitely come back, ask for sort of input suggestions on stuff that needs to be included. I mean, so those things like thematic element, that those are all things that because once we meet or report back with, okay, we think this is, and I know we've had a budget suggestion of 100,000.
well, that was our big thing. We're testing the waters on that because that was, that was the assumptive way it was gonna work, right? And we thought this would be a good test of, let's put in the bulk of the budget and then let's see if we can get a provision for that last little from other budget, pursuant to the idea that that's the whole reason we're presenting these things as part of the budgeting process, is that we contribute some of what we have stored, but then also it gets wrapped into that budgetary process of maybe there's some other monies that can support
Gotcha.
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. That makes more sense now, because I'm like $100,000. Yeah.
Yeah, we want it to be a joint venture. We're fine, we wanted to foot up the majority, but then also see if it can be, supplemented so that we're not draining all of those funds and try out this new IPAC partnership. But that was the intent. This seemed like a great opportunity to do that. It is responsive to community feedback we received as part of the master plan. It follows through with master plan recommendations. It moves poor Dust Up to somewhere more befitting its stature, where it might be more loved and more appreciated, and practices new art piece and that budgetary piece. So just a lot of boxes that checks that we're hoping to great, we have this great suggestion. Let's put it to the test and let's do it.
Maybe we need to write a poem about Dust Up and put it
Mhm.
inside.
Oh, you can put it on it.
Poor little cubes.
That poor project and the artists have been dragged.
Awesome. You said IPAC meets when? It's sticking now.
August 9th.
IPAC. Do you need anything else from us to prep for that, or are you good with?
Input, ideas, thoughts, suggestions, snide remarks.
I have an idea.
Ooh.
Is there any opportunity for an art installation in the rest of Chestnut with the redevelopment of Chestnut? The remaining updates on Chestnut.
You're talking about with the alley?
No, we're doing the street and
The
sidewalks
street?
and utilities.
At this point, no.
Oh, yeah, because it's already out to,
Yeah. We got bigger tree grades though. We did get bigger tree grades.
okay.
Hmm.
Are there any bulb outs in there that maybe we could put something in?
Trying to think, I'd have to look at the design plans. That it may be a possibility. I think the big one is the current ditch alley.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's the big building. So,
We all know what.
But it would be covering it up.
Yeah.
Always wanted to put a fancy railing down it, but it would be covering it up.
no, the idea is to increase the, well, one of the ideas is that there's multiple drainage projects that need to be conducted downtown, increasing capacity in certain areas, creating bypasses in certain areas to get it out faster, because behind y'all, it's down. That's a great example of what not to do. it's unfortunate that happened way back in the past, but so there's a lot of drainage work that needs to be done. But one of the ideas with that particular location is putting in new boxes and creating an art alley.
Yes.
Nice.
Speaking of that magical art alley, at one time we talked about doing like a structured entrance to an art alley a long time ago, kind of like isn't it called Bonefish or Fish Alley in somewhere far away in New Orleans?
Yeah.
Anyways, it's like some kind of like metal structure that you walk through and lights are strung and all that. So if they're redoing the boxes, I'm wondering if we should put a foundation for a possible freestanding entrance. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I think at the time that project gets under design.
Yeah, oh yeah,
there's,
for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And
of
I think they're
conversations
gonna
to
like,
be had.
yeah, so if there's a way in it that we could go ahead and put some, well plates in it for us to attach a cool thing to, that would be awesome.
That would be cool.
Good idea.
It'd be nice if the adjoining property owners were amenable to
If only.
amenable to murals and such.
That's right, if only, one day.
Pursuant to me maybe not being here past January. Just a reminder that as we move forward with the dust up replacement, one of the other things that we should test out and do from the master plan is really put that out there to a public committee for review. That was one of the things that they recommended as we get the art pieces through, that we have that open up to not just our board review, but put together a public panel to make final recommendations on that.
I think one of the important things is to do essentially at that point that we develop that plan and start talking about ideas, that we get a lot more engagement.
Yeah.
So broader public engagement.
Yeah.
On that in terms of ideas and suggestions. And it's kind of a difficult. It's a little bit of a weird process because you're thinking up, okay, these are some potential locations, and we're thinking the budget possibilities, and so the realm of discussion ends up getting a little bit crunched down because those constraints limit that. But I think there's still a lot of opportunity for shaping and discussion and thoughts. And
Well, I think that's the middle ground. I think that's a good role for this committee to play is, okay, what's economically feasible right now? What's the prime location? Knowing all the things and challenges that it's not just as easy as picking a spot and saying art goes there. Lots of things involved. That's why IPAC exists. But then where we can allow that public input and back and forth, especially
when I say public, I mean like even broader. We're bringing more public outside of the public art.
Yeah.
Yes, no, exactly. Which will be another big thing we could work with y'all for as far as like outreach and if nothing else, signal boost for stuff that's out there that says, hey, we need public feedback on this. She's done a great job of growing our socials. Bobby's done a great job in helping support that as well, but we still don't reach all of Conway. That, so.
It has been lacking this summer. Bobby and I have not communicated well, and
I forgot. Can I add one other thing for?
Sure.
Okay. Our emerging talent program, I did want to offer opportunities for the public art committee. One is that this coming spring, our students will be doing social media management internships. So you could potentially have a student assigned to you for like 4 months, and you could have them both creating social media content while they're an intern, but also pre-gaming the future posts. So that's something that if y'all were interested in, we would, I would really like to hear it this fall so I can plan for it. Another thing is that our students do other projects. So if you would like, I love y'all's logo, but I also think it could update.
for sure.
Whoever designed it, I guess it's public. So sorry I said that. If it looks nice. But if you want things redesigned or redone or updated, we have projects that you could also sign up as like a one-off project. Or even things that you are announcing, one of our projects is a poster design. So if you want to get public input on something or have a public event opening, that kind of stuff we do. The graphic stuff is in the spring though, so let us know.
That would be neat. One of the things that used to be for Preservation Month, every year AHPP would like create a new poster for Preservation Month. The Arkansas Historic Preservation Program. And so there's people that have like these whole collections of all these different posters, and that might be neat. Having one that's like kind of on a annual basis, it might be some kind of something related to that or something. One of the things I've thought about doing is October is planning month, and most cities don't do a lot of outreach for planning month. It doesn't get up there, but I would love to maybe explore some possibilities on that too.
Cool. Well, a lot of new ground covered, a lot of answers proposed, a lot of information cleared up. 4 seats open in October, lots of partnership possibilities with Creative Institute. Thank you again for joining us, Nick. And some projects in the works in various stages, which is very exciting. Like having output to show the community that we've got stuff going on, and good partnership opportunities coming to fruition too with the poetry project. So awesome. Well, thank you all so much. It is 6:52. In absence of any other new business that anybody needs to propose or bring to the group.
No, but I do have an announcement. This past month, I was given the key to the city, so just wanted y'all to know that.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
So you're gonna be letting us in the building?
Right. Well, on that auspicious note, I say we adjourn.
Awesome.
Thank y'all.